today is Good Friday. It's Friday, April 10th, and we're just 2 days until Easter, and a lot of the stores are going to be closing very soon. So there's going to be a mad rush to stock up on supplies, and there's still a limit of 3 people in one of these stores per cash register. So especially what happens when there's a lot of people, you end up getting just gigantic lines and people waiting a very long time to get inside. This whole situation with Easter is unprecedented in Poland, as far as I know. People aren't supposed to come and see their families on Easter, and Easter is very hardcore and very important in Poland. So I'm not sure what people are going to do. I mean, it makes sense why they don't have it, that you don't want groups of people together, and of course there will be a lot of extended family and grandparents and sometimes great grandparents. So I think it's a good thing they're doing this. But of course, a lot of people are on edge about this. So we're going to find Lidl and Biedronka, and we're going to see what sort of lines we can find outside them. So this is the line we have for Lidl. Biedronka, I think, was a little less popular, but people that don't know each other are actually standing far apart, which I think is good. And this absolutely does not move very quickly, so you probably end up standing in line a really long time here. And another remark, too, that people are generally wearing, or sometimes wearing masks. It really varies a lot. I think it's next Thursday or something like that they'll start requiring some amount of mask. Maybe not something necessarily medical, but maybe a bandana or something like that, and also gloves when you go out. So I actually don't even really know where to buy some of this stuff, so I need to figure out pretty quickly where to find it. But I guess there's some homemade versions. And up ahead we have the line for Biedronka, and it seems like it's not as popular. I mean, I really think now, of course, is probably the worst time to go in one of these stores, but maybe we'll go from the other side and see, so you can kind of get an idea that everyone there is waiting to go in the grocery store. Generally, it moves very slowly because people are buying huge amounts of supplies because the stores will be closed for a few days. So this is Park Sawatsky, and there were tons of people there, and I'm not going any closer than this because you can get fined pretty bad by going in the parks. They shut them down because what was happening is that, rather than going to the city center, people would just congregate in the parks, and they were actually getting closer together, and sometimes the kids were playing in the playground. So there was apparently someone in Krakow who was sitting on a bench in a park and got fined 12,000 zloty, or about $3,000 for it. So the parks are now very empty and peaceful, and I am going to just kind of walk along and not really go any closer. But yeah, I don't see anyone there anymore, where definitely there would have been before, just a couple weeks ago. So there's a difference in what happens in Poland compared to the US that I need to explain before I show something and why it's so interesting. In the US, it's very common for there to be like a 24-hour Walmart or something like their 24-hour Kroger or whatever other grocery store. I remember when I was much more nocturnal, I would just, go grocery shopping at 4 a.m. just for the hell of it. Now that would be a bit too late. You go east to Ukraine, for example, there's often 24-hour grocery stores, or things are at least open later. But in Poland, things tend to close earlier. And definitely if you go into Western Europe, then I know in Austria, I think things closed at like 7 or 8 p.m., something like that. So part of the way that they're trying to keep the virus from spreading here is they're actually having some of the grocery stores open 24 hours. And this is really kind of something unheard of in Poland. And earlier I showed you the grocery store, how it looked, Lidl and Biedronka, that there were these huge lines. And I kind of cheated in a sense because I think it was, like 6 or 7 p.m. or something like that, so we might expect there to be lots of people. But I got a tip that the same thing is going on right now. That I think it's about 11:30 p.m. and I was in the middle of working, and I heard that apparently in front of Lidl there are just as many people as before. So I just walked by it, and it's absolutely true, and we're going to go check it out. And I just kind of wonder, maybe some of these people are here because they might think it's safer, and it turns out that there are just as many people there. They might be here because they have last minute shopping to do for Easter, or some of them, it might honestly just be for fun because it's a novelty. So we're going to go and take a look at this, because I think this might literally be the only time ever that we could possibly see something like this at this time. And here we have the exact same situation as we had earlier in the day. People are waiting to get into Lidl. It's all people are fairly well spread out. There's going to be someone at the front who's probably counting the number of people entering to make sure it's safe. I know in the light it's kind of harder to see what's going on. And we're going to take a look at Biedronka up ahead too. Situation here, I think they probably looked to see if the line was any shorter than in Lidl. And it's maybe a little bit shorter. I don't think too much. Yeah, it goes all the way to that lamppost to get in there. Okay, today is Saturday, April 11th, and it's the day before Easter. And normally this is a day where people are preparing food, so they might not be traveling as much, and probably should have come here yesterday, but I'm at the bus station in Avenida. It's right next to Poznań, and you can see the lack of buses. There's almost nobody here. If we spin around a little bit, we can maybe see that there's two guys sitting on a bench behind me. The light might kind of be obscuring it. The train station is a little bit more busy than it was maybe like a week ago, and we're going to go there and check that out. The mall, though, Avenida, is just completely empty, and it's actually creepier. So I made a video a bit ago. I haven't posted it yet, and I think I'm going to post this first, where I actually did walk through it. And so the train station itself is more busy now, but the mall is just empty, and it's partly because all the grocery stores are closed down. It's part of the reasons why, everyone is there at 11:30 a.m. or at 11:30 p.m. last night, just waiting in those long lines, because I think they close at 2 p.m. today. So now I'm in Avenida, and literally the only store that's open is that Jabko over there. Even the pet store is closed. And actually I'm really liking this because they're playing no music in the background, so I won't have to record an extra audio track. So this is what it sounds like right now. They're just a couple security guards walking around, and we're going to head up towards the actual train station. And I don't think we can even go up any higher either. The usually busy food court is closed. So there's kind of an eerie silence here. Even the big pharmacy that's normally open is closed. And if we look this way, normally there'd be a Piotr Pavel down there, but it's after 2 p.m., so they closed down that section as well. That's totally roped off. So we can get to the train station by going this way. So we see a few people, at least, not that many. It's almost as empty as it was before. There's still trains running. My understanding is that they're not really allowed to even run that many people on the train, fortunately. So they have, and we'll go down to one of the tracks and see what it's like. So they have compartments normally of 6 to 8 people, and what I was told was that you can have a maximum of 2 people in one of those compartments, which, to be honest, even to me sounds a bit high, because if you're stuck with someone else in the compartment that has coronavirus, then you're probably screwed, just to be honest. And they have some other bigger wagons where I think there's some limit, maybe like half occupancy or something, I'm not entirely sure. Okay, we're on platform 2 now, and when I was here before, I saw a lot of empty trains, and I'm looking at the train over here, and I see there are a couple people that are actually in that train. This is a train going to Olsztyn, I think. So Olsztyn is a town, I think it's or city of about 175,000 people, yeah. So that's one of those compartments that has several people that can be in it, and it's an open space. I think I see maybe 5 or 6 people in it. So definitely there are more people in the trains than there were, say, a week or 2 ago when I think they might have even been running some empty trains, I don't even know. So I don't know, maybe I see there's a compartment over there, and there's, I think, 1 person in it. So I figure a couple weeks ago it might have been actually really safe to use them. I mean, now I heard that actually there were even some people that weren't able to get tickets just because, of course they have the limitations and people still wanted to travel for Easter. This is a familiar and eerie view to anyone who's been down here. And this, I would say, is kind of the same as it was a week or two ago. So I will try to get, it might honestly be a little time until I get that video released. I'm going to try to rush this one to get released by Easter. Maybe Easter Day or the next day after. And yeah, normally this is just bustling with people switching between the different platforms. And yeah, I don't think that anyone would even notice if you just, collapsed and passed out here. Okay. So I think I'm gonna leave the train station and go home. So I can see where's a few people. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people here. So today is Easter, April 12th, and so this is it. And I'm in front of the big church on Kościelna Street, and everything is closed down. So actually today it's much more than the previous days, because I just found out that apparently you can get a 500 zloty fine, which is about $125, which in local salaries is quite a lot, if you drive your car. So the point is to keep families from getting together, to keep from spreading the virus, because in Poland, Easter is very serious business. You have all kinds of families from, very young children up to grandparents and great-grandparents are all getting together. And so public transportation is still working, but I think, we'll walk around a little bit. There are a few people driving their cars, but generally, streets are much emptier, so it's not just lack of people, but even this church, we're going to take a little look behind. There's basically nobody here. Maybe there's a couple people, I'm not really sure, but it doesn't really look like an Easter. And today it's really a very beautiful day. It's 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It's just amazing, beautiful day. But I'll be honest, I'm feeling like crap. I don't have it anywhere near as bad as a lot of people. Some people are sick. Some people are dying, in the hospital, they have it really bad. I at least, have work. I can make these ridiculous videos. I have math to do. I have my cats. I still have my health. But even then, it's still wearing on me. And I can kind of tell, because normally like this type of day would really energize me a lot. So I think there's at least one person coming, but normally on Easter you would see this. And I'm going to, of course, keep my distance, because she's probably at risk. So the gate is still open, so we are going to, after she goes by, we're going to just make sure to keep distance. After she goes by, I'm going to show you a little bit of what's inside. And then we're going to go towards one of the bigger streets and actually see how few cars are coming compared to what we expect. So this is Easter Sunday 2020. Polish church, just completely, here's their big statue, the famous statue of Jesus. Normally this would be just bustling with activity. Of course, Poland is very, very Catholic country. And it's, there's a few cars parked, but there's no signs of activity at all. I don't hear any music. I'm not sure right now if the masses are just completely not allowed or if they're still limited to 5 people. But, and usually, this time, usually people, people are driving their families. That person's risking a 500 zloty fine. But, normally there'd be many more. And we do have a couple cars, but I don't really realize how much traffic there is until, you hear today how little there is. And of course you could see this at 3 or 4 a.m. or something like that, but to see this at this time, it's just kind of eerie. So I think we're going to head towards Most Teatralna or Rondo Caponiera, where we have a really busy street, and I want to see how much traffic there is there, because probably there'll be almost no people. I want to see if also there are not going to be any cars. most Teatralna. There are usually tons and tons of cars here. One of the last times I was here, there were firefighters in hazmat suits cleaning the place. I see a couple cars, almost none though, so no people. Like at least, normally we have some cars. Easter Sunday in the dead center of the city. And this is something you do not see even in the middle of the night. At 3 a.m. you go down here, there's probably someone at least. Other common thing I'm doing during the day, so I'm having a now Zoom meeting with one of my co-authors, Roman Nikiforov, and so he teaches at in a National Dragomanov Pedagogical University in Kiev, Ukraine. And so we've been working on a paper for a while. We're in this program Overleaf now. We're trying to do some editing because I can't be there at the moment, but we're talking, and this is honestly one of the highlights of the day, actually just talking to other mathematicians, because it's actually productive for getting some work done. And so Roman, do you want to say a little bit what's going on in Ukraine right now with the coronavirus situation?
Oh, it's total mess. And I don't know, it's really tough for many people in Ukraine, because there is no restaurants, no cafe, no shops, and many people without works, without salary, and it's lasting for 1 month now. Mm-hmm. And anybody know how long it will be?
Well, one thing I thought that was interesting, I want to mention, this is a difference with the United States. You have 2 children. And, usually in, Ukraine, you're saying that the grandparents often help to take care of the children.
Yes. And now we just self-isolated. And I'm just go one for 4 days to just for the grocery shop to buy something with mm-hmm. 2 big bags.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Yeah.
And my 2 kids have fresh air just from the window.
Oh my God, they're so young. They must be full of energy. I'm sure they're bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
So yeah, Easter in Poznań and Poland, well, pretty much everywhere is done remotely now. So rather than meeting in person, there's either a Skype or some sort of video calls. So I'm calling my parents in Detroit, and so.
Happy Easter.
Thank you. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter for Easter Bunny too, I guess. Yeah. You said they don't have an Easter Bunny in Poland.
So I hope that everyone was able to enjoy their Easter under the quarantine, and like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more stuff.